Hey everybody, welcome back to Schoolhouse Cracked. I'm Brett Derickson, as usual, my good buddy Dr. Marcus Motor Chandler, and we're here with three tips on how to not kill classroom culture at the beginning of the school year.
Yep, so school's about to start here right around the corner. And one of the first things that we are going to recommend, number one, is first day of school. We don't want to tell the kids, we don't want to tell students how hard our class is going to be.
Yes, take the gloves off, people. Here's the deal. Point is you don't need to tell every kid that this is the hardest day they're going to get, or no, hardly anybody ever gets any A's. If you're a great teacher, you're going to be working towards helping all of those kids do well and be successful. We know that there's some really tough content out there. We know that there's a breadth of knowledge. But the whole point is we want to make it accessible in the first few days. We want to get them excited.
Yeah, on the first day of school, the last thing a kid wants to hear is like, oh shit, I'm barely going to get a C, maybe, and I'm a good student. And so, yeah, we just want to build relationships with kids, and then we can get into that really challenging stuff and support them through it. But we don't want to scare them away on day one.
Yeah, and if the curriculum is that challenging, which and sometimes it really is, it'll take care of itself. Let them know that you're part of their team, you're not fighting against them, that you're with them, and this journey is going to be fun and exciting.
Okay. And then number two, always most important, one of the most important things in my opinion on the first day of school and the first couple days of school is you need to know your kids' names.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody knows that this business is about making connections.
Yeah,
the truth is that every business is about making connections. You and I are sitting here because we have a personal connection.
Boom.
Yes, absolutely. And the
right.
point is, I just want to share that really quick story. But I was in a classroom my first year working with you, and a teacher who I thought was brilliant and wonderful. There's a substitute there, and I'm sitting there, and over the intercom, our attendance secretary says, "Hey, can you please send down Sarah Smith? It's time for her to go." And we look around the room. Nobody moves. Nobody moves. All of a sudden, Sarah Smith stands up, completely defeated that nobody knew that she was there, and she just looks across the room and says, "I'm Sarah." And she left. And I thought, shame on that teacher. These kids need to, not only does he need to know their names, they need to know each other's names, build a classroom culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I love and I see one of my colleagues do every semester, and this is in graduate school, mind you, with adults, with military officers, gets them all around in a circle, and we'll have each person say their name, and she'll go name by name until she has all of them. So it'll be student number one, Brett. Okay, student number two, Marcus. Marcus, Brett. Student number three, Sarah. Sarah, Marcus, Brett. And she'll go around that circle on day one, and by day two, she knows every student's name. It's amazing, and I'm always impressed by it, but that's one thing you can do to get to know your students' names.
Yeah, and what kills culture, Marcus, what we see is the antithesis of this is when we say, hey, I've got 150 students, it's going to take me a long time to get to know your names, or I've got 150 students, it's going to be really hard for me to grade your papers. Sometimes as teachers, we start off telling them all the things we're not going to be able to do. Start telling them about the things that are going to be exciting, again, and how you're going to build relationships and get to know each other. But focus on what's going to be happen for them. Don't be a let-down adult already.
And then number three, one of those things that kills classroom cultures at the beginning of a semester, beginning of a school year, is diving right into your syllabus and your curriculum apps. And I've been guilty of this myself.
Absolutely. We started off, that's what we work on, it's what we're passionate about. I'm not taking a dig at teachers on this. Nobody loves curriculum as much as I do, and you know that very much. But when we've spent the whole summer revising things and making sure they meet the standards and looking at how we're going to assess kids backwards and all these things that are really wonderful to us, that's the science of teaching, and they're not interested in it. Go ahead and preview the syllabus, but make sure you're focusing on the neat things, the highlights, the things they're going to get to do, but creating that breadth of knowledge and that here are the rules, that's not going to work. The truth of the matter is a consistency of you in the classroom, how you set expectations, how you follow through those expectations. That's how the rules get set, not the list.
Yeah, absolutely. And by spending just a little bit of time in those first 2 days, getting to know kids, building relationships, talking about all the fun and exciting things you're going to be doing. I know some folks, and there's some administrators out there that are going to say you're wasting time, and some teachers may feel like you're wasting time. But by spending that time in the first couple of days, you're going to save yourself so much time later in the school year because you have relationships to dive into some hard feedback, to really work through projects, and so you're going to save weeks in the long run if you spend those 2 days, 3 days earlier on.
Yeah, I've shared this story on Schoolhouse Crack before, and you and I have talked about it. But when I've lived in this community for a long time. You've lived in this community for a long time, and we run into our former students all the time.
Yeah,
and what they don't tell us is how much they loved world history. I taught world history for 18 years, and they're like, "Geez, I what's my favorite era, Mr. Derickson? No, that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about me and my connections with them, and that's how we want to establish ourselves at the beginning of the school year.
Yep, absolutely. So those are 3 things to do if you really want to kill classroom culture. So that means don't do them. School year is coming right up around the corner. Send us your thoughts, comments, and feedback at schoolhousecracked@gmail.com. Check out our YouTube channel. Download our podcast on all your favorite podcast channels. And we will see you in our next Schoolhouse Cracked. With me, as always, is Mr. Brett Derickson. I've been Dr. MC. See you next time.